How's it going, everybody? Rob here, back with another video. And with this one, we're going to be doing another review of The Last of Us from HBO. This is, at least this episode, we're going to be talking about Season 1, Episode 3. And, by God, this was an episode. And I'm going to say they retell the story of a very brief character, but a character that had quite a, like, kind of a little bit of mystery, like, not mystery, but more so, like, kind of wondering what their backstory is. And that, of course, being Bill. Now, before I can further talk about the episode itself, I need to discuss the game. Because partway through the game, after the situation where you lose Tess, you come across a town that's full of booby traps, and you meet Bill. Bill is a survivalist who, in turn, and kind of begrudgingly, helps Joel and Ellie escape, lets them have his truck, and in the midst of, like, towards the final section of the game, you come across his partner, by the person by the name of Frank, who inevitably ends up taking his own life when he is bitten by an infected. So that is the story of Bill for the game. In terms of the show, by the way, we get a full episode of Bill, and not just like with them, like, going over him, but also kind of retelling his story. And I will say it's intriguing. It starts off with Ellie and Joel kind of going towards the town and finding unfortunately, a pit full of people who were basically massacred when the military could not hold everyone for their QZs. So we end up seeing or being introduced to Bill, who again is a survivalist. While everybody's being evacuated, he's basically hunkered down in his bunker and his house. And once everybody leaves, he then proceeds to run the town for himself. He puts up fences, he sets up traps, and basically makes a home for himself in this small little town. Eventually, in one of his traps, he comes across somebody by the name of Frank. And at first, he's reluctant to have him around, but eventually, that person kind of grows on him, so to speak. Well, it's like, not just that, but they actually start to have a relationship. And throughout I would say, like, the 20-year span, I think it was 20 years, we get to see him and his interactions with Frank. And their bond grow closer and closer. Sometimes good days, sometimes bad days. I don't want to go into too much. All I can say is just watch the show if you haven't watched it. But towards the very end, there is a huge difference between what we see in the show and what we see from the game. Where towards the end, you have a little bit of a spoiler. Towards the end, we don't see. Okay, let me say it like this, because like all this is raw emotion. Because I just watched the episode as I'm recording this video. Towards the end, Bill and Frank kind of live a happy life together. And towards the very end, like when Joel and Ellie show up, there's no sign of Bill or Frank. Frank this time around does not get bitten by an infected. In fact, he slowly was succumbing to cancer. At least it's implied he was succumbing to cancer. And Bill and Frank inevitably do end it for themselves in almost Romeo and Juliet type-esque way. And when Ellie and Joel show up, all that's left of them is, you know, their supplies, their guns, and a note for Joel, telling him to take what he wants and to protect Tess. Which, throughout the few moments that we see of Joel, he's really hurt by what happened with Tess. And I think the note itself kind of hits it home for him, till he finally says, "Okay, you know what?" He tells Ellie, "Look, these are the rules. We're going to do this. I'm going to take you where you need to go. Here's the rules you follow. That's it. Done." Sure enough, they get their supplies. Ellie finds a gun because she keeps bugging Joel about a gun. And they go their way. That's it. All in all, this was an interesting episode. And a very interesting change. And I think with the game, it was somewhat... I think it was kind of implied that Bill wasn't just like his survival partner, I think, but rather somebody who was very close. Like when you listen to Bill, like, you know, mention Frank's name and see Frank for like what happened to him in the game, you can tell there's a little bit of emotion, like, hey, a little bit of regret, a little bit of like shock that somebody he was kind of, you know, basically surviving with, somebody who was close by, had, you know, done themselves in like that. So, all in all, you know, I'll say it was a cool change. And I would say, if anything, it added on to what a lot of people were kind of suspecting to begin with, in terms of the character for the game. So, all in all, I absolutely enjoyed this episode. And it mainly focused on a character that you only see for a little bit of the game. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and give this a 8 out of 10. I absolutely enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to watch. And honestly, with everything going on in this, yeah, it was a damn good episode. It continued, like, the show continues to make you feel for the characters that they write for. So, anyway, 8 out of 10, guys. That's my final say on my review or rant or ranking for this episode. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Truly appreciate it. If you guys can, please leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. If you guys want to follow us on social media, it's all in the description down below, as well as check out our daily content and the weekly podcast. With that being said, this is Rob Novakast signing off. Have a good one. Take care, and I'll see you guys next video.